Okay, here we go. Once again, thank you guys for coming in on the second half of the show of tonight. Me and Ken are once again on Breaking the Base, episode 68. Sorry about that. And in this one, we're going to be talking about the best and worst time travel movies. And time travel movies have existed quite a while. And we're just going to jump all over it. What we don't like, what we do like, what we expect, what are the best, what are the worst, maybe some time paradoxes and stuff. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Ken go ahead and lead us on into the conversation. The time travel guru.
Oh gosh, time travel guru. That would be cool. It'd be like, have you ever had anything you ever want to go back and fix? And if so, what was it?
The intro to this video.
Wow, that was only like seconds ago. You ever thought of the repercussions? Time travel movies portray time travel. I'm not gonna be able to say this a lot. Time travel, they portray it as always something cool, but there's been a very few rare exceptions that actually really show what would technically happen in time travel. Just even moving a penny you found on the side of a road back in 1901 would ripple across time like crazy. Just a simple penny. We've had a lot of really cool movies. We've had the humorous ones like Groundhog Day, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. What's another one? Hot Tub Time Machine, if you like that one. Back to the Future, Time Bandits. We've had some really cool comedies. We've had some pretty creepy stuff like Donnie Darko. If you ever watched that, it actually is about time travel, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it actually is. The Terminator 2 is in really cool movies in time travel. Looper. Anybody see Looper?
Yeah.
Looper was a trippy movie. Yeah. Looper has one of the craziest scenes that gives me the willies in Looper, where the one guy escaped and they had him in his future escape, so they got him in the past.
Yeah.
They were cutting him all up, and he'd be like talking, and like his fingers would be disappearing, and his nose disappeared, and by the time he got to where he was supposed to be, he was like all mutilated, and they had him on life support just to keep him alive in the future.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That's probably one of the most striking time travel scenes I have ever watched in a movie. Bar none.
You know what they say? Looper threw me for a looper.
12 Monkeys was another one of those movies
that was like one of those time paradox movies. I thought that was great how they ended it off and everything.
Yeah, I did not see that come on over at all.
I didn't either. Have you ever seen that movie Source Code?
I have never seen it, but I read it, and I know what it's about, and that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
Another movie along those lines is one that had what was his name? Missing face. Denzel Washington.
Deja Vu.
Yes, that movie. That was another one of those crazy movies where it was like, what? Completely throwing you off in your game. You're like, I didn't see that coming. A lot of people can relate to. Fine, go ahead.
What you were saying?
I was just gonna say, a lot of people, don't expect, those twists and turns, even in a time travel movie. But like The Butterfly Effect was another one of those movies. Actually, 1 and 2 were kind of trippy. 1 was pretty sad. 2 was kind of trippy. For time traveler movie type things.
Let me ask you this: when it comes to a time travel movie, does it have to be plausible for you to get into the movie, or could it just be unknown?
So much you can do with a time travel movie. Heck, it could even be half the battle of actually getting there. Like, what was that movie? There was a movie out called Primer. It's a time travel movie, and these two guys end up creating a time travel movie. But basically, every time, and you have to kind of actually go look up Primer, the movie, and to understand how things work. But basically, you enter the time travel box. Another version of you sits in the box for however long you're gone. When the other one climbs back in the box, they're destroyed, and the original comes back out. And it's trippy. It's a crazy movie. You have to watch it and you have to pay attention. And that's one of those movies that you don't see what's happening until later in the movie when you kind of click, ding, 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 ding. And then you're like, oh, man, I can't believe, they only paid $7,000 to make this movie. And they made $500,000 in revenue off of it because it was original, very original. But you got to pay attention. There's another movie out there. I was trying to find it here real quick. There's so many time travel movies, like Men in Black 3.
Yeah,
that was another crazy movie. Didn't see that coming. Where is this movie? I hate this. I see a movie and it's like, man, that was really crazy, and it all comes around, and you're like, that would be so freaking awesome. But it's another kind of like a homemade, some kids, and they find out their dad he created a time machine before he died, and they build it, and they go back and they see themselves in time, and it creates paradoxes, and they're trying to finally figure out that they shouldn't have done it in the first place and try to destroy it. But it was another not your standard. Yes, time travel is involved, but it's not your standard plot of somebody going back in to get rid of something or stop somebody or make it rich, or it just wasn't one of those movies. It's just somebody who came across technology and they went back and had all these, went to these really cool concerts that they could have never gone to because they were never born.
Yeah.
And they use it for that kind of thing. So not your standard movie, which was cool. I like originality. I like, time travel. We always see the time travel, somebody going back to fix something, stop something, get rid of something, but you never see anything original. And those movies were good examples of something that was at least original.
Did you ever see the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox?
I did not, but I have seen some of the effects of it on the TV series, but not as widespread as it is in the comics.
Did you see what happened in a movie? Because they had a movie. In the movie, of course, Flash goes back to save his mother, because the death of his mother is what sets him on the path to become the Flash. So as soon as he goes back and saves his mother, changes every aspect of the world almost.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
People do not understand the laws of time travel. There was even a really cool sci-fi series, or not series, one of the sci-fi movies everybody doesn't like, the little budget movies, but damn well you watch them, so don't lie to me. Because people will watch them. I know that they do. And they had, they came back with some goop on their feet. And they end up, because that goop came back from the past, it changed the future, and it didn't change it rapidly. It just changed it over a period of time, so everything started growing up and going crazy because somebody didn't take the precautions. It's so dangerous to go back in time. But if you could go back, do you remember Quantum Leap, or did you ever watch Quantum Leap?
I didn't watch it, but I did see. I know what you're talking about.
In Quantum Leap, it's basically, you always thought Sam, the traveler, tied in to the person in the past. He replaced them one for one, but really it was more of his consciousness was in the body of the person in the past. And when you saw the person in the future, it wasn't them, it was Sam's body with their consciousness in it. So when you perceived the characters, you always saw them. Well, the one thing that was wild is, Al, his co-guy, could go back with him. He couldn't interact because he was only purely observational. Now, if you could create time, you could create time and go back and just observe without interfering with anything at any point, moving around any point in time, that would be freaking awesome. You won't change anything, but you could find out. You could find out who killed Kennedy. You could find out what happened in Egypt or whatever. I mean, there's so much there. That would be awesome just to be able to see it. You won't be able to completely experience it physically, but it would be able to cool to see it. And I think that's one of the reasons I like Quantum Leap so much, is that yes, Sam was able to affect change in the past to fix the future, but Al was unable to do anything, and that's really what time traveling should be like. But just theory, just throwing it out there.
Which movies do you like more, when they go to the past or when they go into the future?
I'm one of those people that you learn from the past to affect your future. And, those who don't learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. And I'm kind of that person. I like the past a lot. Future would be great, but the future won't exist because you have to interact with the past first. The future is unwritten. I mean, literally the moment we're talking is just now happening only because it's being created. So I don't know how far they could go into the future. To me, theoretically, I don't think you could really go into the future, but you could definitely go back in the past. So I don't know. I like the past better. I like the more older stuff. It's always interesting. Great. The future would be awesome. Kind of like in Back to the Future when they go and, the doc said, I had a complete blood transfusion. I feel 30 years younger. I'm feeling great and all this great stuff. But, I think I'd be more of a past person.
Future wasn't when he went back and seen his mother and his father.
Yeah, a paradox.
Was it the first movie or the second movie?
Well, in the first movie, he was interacting with his mom and dad in the past.
Okay, so it was the first movie.
Yep, and the third one, he's interacting. Well, he would have been interacting with himself in the future with his future wife and future kid, because that's when he gets fired. And he gets mistaken because of his lookalike. He gets mistaken for his son, not his daughter, when Biff's son shows up in the at the very beginning of the movie with the hoverboard fight scene.
Okay. Which one was it when they went into like the Wild West?
That was the second one.
Okay. I'm getting my movies mixed up.
You can very easily get mixed up in that whole series, because if you don't pay attention, you're like completely lost. But I love the Back to the Future movie franchise. I always enjoyed it.
So when it comes to movies that have to deal with time travel, what would you like to see in it? Do the main protagonists have to go into the past? Do they have to go into the future? Is there some element of the future or the past that needs to come to the present? Is it like Groundhog's Day where the day can keep repeating? Is it like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Premonition with Sandra Bullock.
I have not.
In the movie, she kept living the future and like the present. Like one day she would wake up before this event happened, and then the next day she'd wake up, the event happened, but then she'd wake up the next day again, it hadn't happened yet.
Whoa.
It was a pretty good movie if you could actually understand what was going on. In the movie, she ended up finding out that her husband died, but then like the next day she'd wake up again. And it was like every day it kept doing that, but it was actually leading to his death.
That's some crazy stuff.
That time travel?
Well, in a way, yeah. It's just a different way of presenting the issue.
Okay.
There's so many ways we could portray time travel, and that happens to be one of them. I mean, there's several other movies that really kind of go in that weird category like that, like the Time Traveler's Wife, a romance movie. But
yes, I've heard of that.
Throughout her life. The Lake House that had Keanu Reeves in it, where he's in the past, she's in the future.
Yes, and Sandra Bullock, right?
I think Sandra Bullock's in that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a couple of movies that fall in that category. There's Time Traveler's Wife. There's these movies that do in there that show you different representations. Some like, premonitions, There was the movie with Nicolas Cage in it.
Next.
Yes, Next. Where he could actually foresee what was going to happen and try to make the alternate choice and go.
Yes.
That movie,
movies. I like him.
I really liked that movie. It was really surprising, and I just kind of went to go see it. And it turned out to be like, whoa, what? Didn't see that coming. And stuff like that. So we have many ways we've seen people use time machines to travel back. Some people just do it on their own. They find a device, they invent a device. One falls in their lap. There's so many different variations of time travel and definitions of time travel. It's really hard to pin. I just want to having a good story, whether they go to the past or the future. There's got to be there has to be something kind of original to it. Granted, it's a time travel movie. Again, people always go to fix something, find something, get rid of something, or get rid of someone.
Actually, this. What are your top 5 time travel movies?
Oh, let's go look at the list, shall we? Let's go look at my list of time traveling movies. I love Groundhog Day. I like 12 Monkeys. Let's only stick with time traveling movies though. Not so much of a crossover. Back to the Future. Definitely love Back to the Future. Here's an oldie but a goodie, and I do enjoy it when I see it. The Final Countdown.
I haven't seen it.
Final Countdown is a 1980s movie that had basically what would happen. It was an aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, and it ends up going through some kind of storm and ends up back in just before Pearl Harbor, like hours or so before Pearl Harbor. And it's about a modern U.S. carrier back in that time frame having the choice of being able to stop Pearl Harbor from ever happening.
Yeah.
Because literally, one plane could have taken out the entire Japanese Air Force, They have that much firepower on them, literally. They know where everything's going to be. They know where everything's going to happen, but it's a dilemma. Should they interfere or not? They're not even sure if it's even real to begin with. Very, very cool movie. And if you get a chance, watch it. It's an older movie, but take it with that grain of salt. It is a good story plot. And let me think. One more good time travel movie that I like. See, those are all time travel related. Let's just throw Looper in there. We'll add Looper in there off the list that I can see right in front of me.
On that. Guess I'll pick up what my top 5 are. I don't remember seeing Groundhog's Day.
What?
Too young. I'm sorry, I was too young.
It ain't that old. How old are you? Well, when were you born?
7.
When?
87.
87, 88, 99, 192, 90. Okay, I'll give you that one.
My top 5. I liked Edge of Tomorrow. That's
man, yes, Edge of Tomorrow. Yes, and they're working on a second one, by the way.
That's what I'm talking about. Terminator 2.
Yes, time travel.
The Star Trek reboot, the 2009 one.
Are you going to count that as time travel? I guess technically, really, it did actually cause a parrot. Yeah. Okay, that'll qualify. And I do like that movie, too.
I got to say, the Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. It's animated, but it's a movie.
It's still a movie.
My all-time favorite time travel movie is The Time Machine. The one
Which
with...
one?
Guy, what's the guy's name? Tartar sauce.
Guy Pearce?
Yes, that's my favorite one.
That one was cool. That was the yeah, okay, that was the one I thought it was. Yeah, I liked that one. I liked it for the fact that they ran across the when you see the moon explode and all that stuff was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the Morlocks were different. They had the two different Morlocks.
Yep.
You had the kind of the Jeremy's Iron character.
Jeremy Irons make everything
good. The crazy looking dude.
He had a weird character, but kind of a cool one.
Yeah, they were chowing down on people. Nom 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 nom.
But that's just me. That's my favorite one.
Well, there's another series that's it's called Time After Time, and
what's that about?
Well, basically, in Time After Time, H.G. Wells and it turns out that Jack the Ripper are actually friends, but he doesn't know that Jack the Ripper is Jack the Ripper.
Gets brought to nowadays.
He comes in. Well, in the original, he comes into the early '80s.
Yeah.
And then H.G. Wells goes behind him trying to catch him and bring him back.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Well, there is also now, or was, I think they canceled it. I'm not sure. I think it's still in the air. There is a Time After Time TV series going on right now, which adds a little more story to it because obviously the original, we just had a simple Jack the Ripper escapes the police by going into the future. H.G. Wells goes after him to stop Jack the Ripper. Well, in this one, the same thing happens. Jack the Ripper ends up in 2017. H.G. Wells comes right behind him. But there are other things into play. People are expecting them. There's people been watching for him to show up. So there's some kind of...
I didn't know that.
Something's going on that's above the beyond the series. So I think I
know what it is.
I think that was an interesting series.
I think it was Dr. Jekyll.
Don't know. Well, actually, it kind of ties in that the great grandfather of another character in the show was experimenting with patients, and the work was a result of something that Jack the Ripper had done and carried on. So that's kind of a crossing over in the series. So there's a lot of kind of interesting. I want to watch the series from beginning to end. I'm gonna binge watch one weekend or something and catch up on it. I do read a lot about the shows, but I actually haven't seen it personally. So again, usually if you read about a show, you're gonna get the basics of it, but you're not gonna get the full experience of the show. You don't get all the little details and things that you might miss. You're just gonna get the meat. You're missing the potatoes and carrots, the other good stuff to it. So I need to watch that because I always liked the movie. Even when I saw it when I was a kid, I always thought it was cool. I love time travel. Time travel is just like the ultimate cool thing, but it comes at a cost. And I am a firm believer that if you do not learn from your past, you will repeat it. And nowadays, I mean, it's all starting all over again. And we've got to learn from our past. We've got to get beyond. The thing is, we got to get beyond our past and step towards the future to make things better. And people get stuck on the past and they're stuck on stupid. And it's gonna, and parents teaching their kids and those kids teaching the kids, it all comes around, and it's literally brewing right now. You're seeing the past come back again because nobody learned it the first time. And it's terrible.
I'm gonna ask you this: since we on the subject of our favorites, what are some of the most terrible ones? Let's name some terrible time travel movies.
Let me think.
I don't think I got too many bad ones.
I really haven't seen some crappy. I'm kind of picky on those. I don't think I've really seen anything that would cause me to think of a bad movie. There are some different movies, like Donnie Darko is different. I mean, you would have never thought about time travel until the end of the movie.
Did you see the second one?
What was that?
Did you see the second Donnie Darko?
There was a second one?
I think it was his sister.
Really? Didn't see that one. A lot of people don't like... I mean, it's kind of cheesy. You have to take it with a grain of salt, though, because I knew what to expect, so I could live with it. But Hot Tub Time Machine, It's not really that bad, but it's not really that good. But if you take it for what it is, it's a comedy. It's kind of a stupid comedy. You can live with it, and it's entertaining, but it's not the greatest of the bunch. And I've seen Hot Tub 1 and Hot Tub 2. I thought they were humorous because I kind of like that style of humor. But, that's not on the top 10 lists per se. I'm trying to go through
Did you watch the Bill and Ted?
I love Bill and Ted.
I need to go back and rewatch those.
Yeah, it's, again, a movie that you have to take it for what it is. It's not a serious time travel movie. It just happens to have time travel in it. It's meant to be stupid, but it's a fun, entertaining movie. And if you keep up with it, you will enjoy it. Unless you just don't like stupid comedies, it's all right. But I was just kind of going back through my head of just looking through probably about 100 time travel movies in front of me, and all the ones that I've seen. Taking Garner of what's funny. Time Bandits is another one of those movies that is a British comedy. It's really cool, but it's kind of like Monty Python, trippy cool. If you like Monty Python, you'll like Time Bandits. But it's again one of those movies you have to have a taste for.
Pause to the calls. Check this out. I ripped that totally.
Wow, you completely and totally pixelated on that.
My camcorder, I got a. So I'm definitely gonna be putting some more videos out.
Oh, you got it working.
It wouldn't work on my Vegas studio, so I went back and downloaded, and it works on them. Well, go figure.
That's how weird how some things like that happen.
I don't understand it. Sorry, everybody, for interrupting. I just got excited.
There's nothing wrong with fixing something and having excitement about it, especially when you've been frustrated with it for a while, and then you're like, "Damn, I got it! Hot diggity damn!" Love it.
Let me ask you something. Does Army of Darkness, is that considered time travel?
Yeah, actually, it is really. Because you got to think about it. He was sent back into the past, and in Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness is basically Evil Dead 3. So he's in the past, and then he ends up.
It felt like he was in the past. It felt like he was in like an alternate universe.
No, he got sent to the past. Because remember for those who have not seen the movie, don't listen. But when he reads the Nominacron or whatever it was, the book.
Necronomicon.
Yeah. He ends up back in the future of Earth. So he was in Earth's past when the army rose, when he screwed up and opened the book. So, or when he didn't say the proper terms of the book, the whole paraphrase he had to say. So,
I can't believe that we forgot this movie. It is a time travel classic. Because right now I can't really think of any bad time travel movies. But Time Cop
wasn't that bad.
Yeah, what a bad movie.
It had one of those really cool scenes in Time Cop when they say your future and past cannot interact together.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Doctor Who, you and your past can never interact because it would cause huge problems. That movie was the first one to actually make it happen. All the other movies, they run into each other and help each other, but in Time Cop, it actually shows what happens, which was pretty cool.
I know you're a Star Trek buff. There was a Star Trek movie, I think it was First Contact, where they went back into the past.
That's correct, and they also went back in the past in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
I remember the first one. Where it was Patrick Stewart, and I think he went in the past and met has that the first, the
Cochrane.
Yeah.
Well, no, not the Shatner one.
I think
that was a completely different movie. In First Contact, they go back into the Earth's past because the Borg are trying to get rid of the humans going into space, and they're trying to stop. I think his name was Thad Cochran, or something like that.
That dude with that beard.
Well, I don't think he had a beard. He was clean shaven.
I'm getting everything totally confused.
He wore a ring hat, and he didn't want to be he took an old missile and made it a warp drive or warp capable ship, and the Borg were trying to get rid of him to keep the Vulcans from ever showing up on Earth. That was that movie. That was First Contact. And in Star Trek 4, they go back to get whales to come back to the future to save the day. Not one of the best Star Trek movies ever. Neither was 5. They all kind of sucked, sadly. The other one you're thinking of is, God, who had the beard?
I'm getting lost.
All right, moving on.
Like, okay, if you could go back in time, what is the most, what's your favorite time travel method out of all the movies?
Myth?
No, method.
Oh. Well, everybody's always got a machine or a gizmo.
What happened on Black Knight? He fell into that moat, and then he ended up coming back into the past.
Oh my God, that was funny. That movie was pretty damn funny.
Too.
Yeah, that qualifies. It's kind of like the what was the original movie called A Night, A Yankee in King Arthur's Court, I think was actually the original movie.
I think I've seen it a long time ago. I just don't remember. That does sound familiar.
It has Bing Crosby in it. Bing Crosby. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, Bing. Burp, burp, burp. That movie was actually good for being as old as it was. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. That's what it's called.
I think I have seen that.
And that's from 1949. That's how old that movie is. 1949. Dang. But you know what? It's a good movie. Just because movies are old, people, doesn't mean anything. Storytelling is half the battle of entertainment today. I think that's an absolute truth. Because you have to remember before you had CGI and all this other stuff that we have now to tell you a story, watch an old Twilight Zone show where you had very limited budget, very limited physical effects at best, and you were terrified in that story without having to have CGI characters popping out on the screen on you because of the story, the story writing. People don't write that way anymore. They're all about throwing as much visual effect into the story instead of the content of the story. Yeah, I think that's an art that's being lost now. Is it's hard to find an original story. Now you can find a good story, and sometimes based on that story, you might have to have fantastical worlds or something that can't be physically created. That's great and wonderful, but the story has got to carry it. Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of story, I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. Which movie? Gonna be 2 questions. What's your favorite movie, time travel movie, when they're going to the past, and which one is your favorite when they're going to the future?
No,
throwing them curveballs.
Wow, threw a curveball indeed. All right, see, going into the past. Man. My favorite, I think, is going to be the Back to the Future series. And because they go definitely into the past, but they go in the future, but I'm not counting the future. I just like the past adventures that he has in the first 2 movies. As for one in the future, I can't. Man, make my brain hurt. Why don't you? How many movies actually do go into the future? I can't think of anything off the top of my. I mean, I'm seeing stuff in my head, but I'm trying to think of the name of the movie. You fire out with yours. Aha. This is what's called pass off.
I'm gonna go ahead. When it's about going into the past, I would say Star Trek. That's my one to go into the past. And as far as going to the future, say the time machine.
Let's see. That's Time Cop.
Out there, yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know what time it is.
Is it beeping?
No, not yet. Not that time, but
time for me to suck up and give you one. Let me think here.
Right, thinking I'm gonna throw out another question. What's another movie that you like, a time travel movie that you like, where the same day repeated?
Groundhog Day.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Groundhog Day would be my favorite comedy, but Edge of Tomorrow would be my favorite action repeated.
Okay, I can go with that.
Because I like comedy.
I'm not really sure about comedy because I have time travel is comedy. I mean, Edge of Tomorrow did have comedy in it, but it wasn't like
I love it when he's like when she's like, no, my leg's okay, it's okay. No, boom. He's trying to run and she just keeps shooting him. That was great. No, I'm okay. Boom. Here's one I think. Oh, wait. I think this is it. The Sound of Thunder. Remember that sci-fi series I was talking about with the dinosaur when they go back in time and screw up everything? It's called The Sound of Thunder.
Thunder.
Tonight on Thunder. I'll tell you another one we forgot about. I got a couple movies I've run across since we've been talking. Click.
Yes.
With Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah. Even though he didn't go back in time like that, he manipulated. He went
to the future. He kept stepping into the future every time.
Click. I did like Click.
Click is one of them, and I found another one. Hang on, let me scroll back here real quick. There's another one we should have thought about, too. Well, we know Men in Black 3, time travel. Free Jack.
Hadn't seen that.
Ooh. Yeah, Free Jack you might find. That's kind of an interesting future movie right there is Free Jack. I think I'm going to actually add that to my future movie list for the moment. Because I was trying to think of something, but Free Jack is actually really cool. Because of it's got Emilio Estevez in it. It's got Mick Jagger in it. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it. It's got a lot of good people in it. It was, kind of cheesy, but the concept was very cool. And very along the lines of stuff we've been talking about tonight. But I think I'll go with Free Jack for the moment as I'm digging through stuff.
Okay. I can get behind you on that. What is Free Jack about anyway?
Free Jack is basically in the future, at least in this case, a particular individual has money and power and wants to live. Their body is dying. So what they went back to do is they have a device that can pull people from the past to the future because they already think they're going to be dead anyway. So in this case, Emilio Estevez is a race car driver, and he is supposed to die in a fiery car wreck. So at the moment his car is getting ready to explode, he's free jacked into the future. And he's supposed to basically be the host body for the consciousness of the super rich guy. But he ends up getting away. And the movie is basically chasing him throughout the movie and trying to understand where he's at and what's going on. But that's what the premise of Free Jack is. And I'll leave it spoiler free, so you will have to watch it to find out what happens in the end.
Did you ever see the X-Men Days of Future Past?
Parts of it. I didn't get to see the whole thing. I'm kind
I don't know. Days of Future Past follows the X-Men who
of the reboot.
They're in a war, a losing battle with these mutant hunting machines called Sentinels.
Yep.
So they send it's not
Wolverine.
supposed to be Logan, but they send Wolverine into the past to try to prevent the Sentinels from being created. That led to them being created.
Yep.
And as far as the time travel movie, I thought it was decent, especially those moments where that are young, he's meeting characters that he knew were older stuff. I think it worked at the time. A good time traveling movie.
Yeah, it has the elements of time travel. You don't have to, like I say, we don't always have to physically vanish and move in time. Like say, consciousness is used a lot and often in movies, especially like in X-Men: Days of Future Past, or like in TV series like Quantum Leap. You're physically there, but your consciousness is moved along the way. So, and again, it's also have the ability to do the observations too. Just like we were talking about with Quantum Leap. I can see everything that's going on. I can't interact with anything that's going on, but now I know why. Which would be really, 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 really cool. A lot of stuff would be fixed. I think the world would be a very different place too. If some of that actually were, if people learn the truth about a lot of stuff, I think we'd have a very different world.
Yes, we would. And that's why that's one thing I do like about these time travel movies, particularly the ones where you do go into the past, because it's nice for them people for it to be like, okay, you can change the past. And in fact, I had said that I want to bring this up. Do you accept a time travel movie where if you go into the past, you change the future, or if you go into the past, you become the past?
Well, you do both. That's the bad thing. If you go in the past and stay in the past, you literally change the past. Or actually, you change the future because you're no longer at least up to that point.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. And I remember in Back to the Future when he was kind of, he had kind of came between his mom and his dad.
Yep.
It started affecting him, even though he was in the past himself.
Yeah, because they would have never met, and so his existence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if say in Terminator, you know how in that series they're trying to stop Skynet?
Yeah.
Like if they actually would have stopped Skynet, do you think that the Terminators would have disappeared, or you think they would have been fixed in this time?
The Terminators, all that whole timeline would have been erased.
Okay.
If they had stopped,
but he would still be in the past because he's fixed in the past, right?
Everything would have been undone.
Okay.
It'll have been a whole new timeline where Skynet never existed. Now, it could have been created later on, and something else could have happened later in the series. But basically, if they had stopped the button from never being pressed, Skynet would have never been created. And at that point, immediately at that point, as soon as they hit no, that whole future would have been completely gone. Everything would have just been wiped out. Everything that happened from that point forward would be a complete rewrite of history. And nobody would be aware of it happening because he would never be there to begin with because he would have never been affected. They would have never had the Terminator come back into we would have never had Terminator 1. So, yeah, that is very possible that could happen. That's what happened in the Star Trek. The Star Trek reboot. Basically, it's exactly what happened. Spock came through the time loop or came through the thing, thus creating a dual timeline. So, nobody had known anybody and everything was affected. And that's why he refused to tell him what happened. Because they said, you have to set your own destiny. I can't tell you what mine was. That was my choices. This is your choices. So, yeah. Time is very particular and very finicky. And I say, I don't think we will ever develop time travel. It's too dangerous. It's absolutely just too dangerous. One tiny little thing, literally the butterfly effect is actually based on a theory. If a butterfly flaps its wings in 16 million years in the past, it affects the winds today? Because it does.
Oh, snaps.
Go! Guess what time it is, folks?
Yeah, it's about that time, people. All right, then, everybody. We greatly appreciate you for helping us in this second half of the show. Me and Ken just got through having a great discussion about the best and what
sort
few
of,
worst
kind
movies,
of.
time machine movies, or time manipulating movies, anything that has anything to do with manipulating time. We had a great discussion on that. Like I normally say, guys, be sure to, in the comment section below, let us know best, worst time traveling, time machine, time manipulated movies. Hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that like button. Also hit the notification button, because you're gonna definitely want to hit that, so that way you'll know when we throw up even more engaging conversations. And we do like to hear from you guys. We greatly appreciate the feedback. To that one subject where that guy was talking about Halo in the Halo vid. We'll come back to that one day soon. But anyways, Ken, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, it's actually a very good night. The open discussion our first hour and time travel on our second hour. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, join us. We'll be back next week having everything done. And don't forget to leave us some comments too, because we definitely want to read those and find out.
And with that being said, Narik and Ken signing out.